low level kind of knowledge, and there's a higher level of knowledge, in depth of knowledge. So if you don't have this knowledge, and it's hard to understand the higher level of knowledge, right? That's why maybe there's a sequences there. And so through with the curriculum, student can assess to the rigorous academic experience in classroom and outside classroom, inside classroom. So curriculum has a structure and organization and considerations, right? So why they organize and structure to enhance the student learning and facilitate the instruction, right? That's why they make a kind of structured curriculums and organized curriculums. So curriculum must include necessary goals and methods and materials and assessment to effectively support instruction and learning. That is a basic one of your understanding of curriculum. So, and if you start the class and then the syllabus is here, and then you can it's clear, right? So the Lordland University mission statement. What is why this school is existing? And then it shows the basic philosophy of their school. And then right, so the program activity in this class is Christian education, and then we gotta know that basic standard of this kind of a program. And then I try to put this class. I try to put about the course description and objectivity, right? And that is so. Goal is there, and method how you can do it, and then material and assessment. That is kind of needed for the curriculum. Do you know we consider the basic what's a component for the curriculums, right? How can you design? Another definition is that the curriculum is a framework that sets the expectation for the student learning. Okay, this is from the school perspective, right? It's not from the student perspective. Okay, this is framework, and I never, when I was in Korea, I never had a counselor who explained the whole class, and okay, first year this one, second year this one, and so how can you take the class? And then I met a counselor, and then she explained everything though with the paper. So she gave me a whole framework, and then I gotta mark it. So depends on what class I take, and then I mark, and then I'm done this class, I'm done this one, and then what is the requirement class, and then there is you need more general education, and you consider what is the area, and then I gotta pick the class in one of the area there, and I have a selective for my majors, right? Classes, and then that's she explained everything and gave me. So I have all the time this sheet, and then marked what class I take for the required for the graduation. So curriculum serves as a guide for teachers and roadmap, right? Okay, you can see the whole things, and then roadmap you will and kind of establish standard for student performance and teachers accountability. So that's a basic idea about what class you need to take and what it's about, right? Maybe instructor different. Instructor is different. So curriculum is the group of courses offered in a particular field of study, like another word, and then if you study Christian education, and then maybe you need to know what is Christianity, right? The framework, you need basic theology, and then you need basic theory of educations, and all kind of stuff put together and integrate in education and theology, and then Christian education, they maybe come out to Christian education like this, and then group of courses are offered in particular field of study, so, right? And maybe it's easiest kind of definition of curriculum. Another is this is really focused on the written curriculum. Is a plan for what is to what is to be taught. Okay. This is a Christian education class. This subject is taught. Should be taught. This subject should be taught like this. So really focus on the teachers do what teachers do, and focus for it's really and. That's the easiest one of thing, and then maybe student, if they don't have to take all classes, maybe usually to provide what's a variety of the knowledge, kind of with depth of knowledge and different classes provided, and sometimes it's really different, but still. I need to know class. So there's a kind of, it's not a science class like I took psychobiology, which really focus on the hormone and the brain stuff, and then. But if they study science and they say not psychobiology, they say biopsychology, they don't call biopsychology, psychology, something like that. And a little bit different. They put the emphasis on bio, but we put the emphasis on psychology, psychobiology, and then even though we learn the same thing, but we focus is a little bit different, right? Here is the scholar's definition of our classroom. This one is the school's definitions and some scholars' definitions. But look at this, kind of trying to compare the organization's definition, but this is a scholar's definition. All of the learning of a student which is planned by and directed by the school to attain its educational goals. Ralph Tyler, he defined the curriculum like this. And it's almost same, but it's really focused on what the school needs to do, and he showed the kind of goal of education, right? Relate to the kind of goal of education and then curriculums. And then what about Wheeler? He said curriculum is what? The plan, the experience offered by learner, offered to the learner under the guidance of the school. A little bit focus on who? Learner, right? And what about Eisner's? The curriculum of a school or the course or the classroom can be conceived as a series of planned events, and are intended to have educational sequences for one or more students. He said a planned event, maybe more activities and relate to practical knowledge, skills, and then still maybe one class and happen in whole semester or whole quarters, and then there's consider one of your class, but we consider it one of event, right? But still, event means that not just inside the classroom. What about Saylor and Saylor and Lewis? They said curriculum is a plan for providing set of a learning opportunity for a person to be educated, right? Educated. What about Silkback? learning experience of the student is so far as they express and anticipated in goal and objective, plans and designs for learning and implementation these plans and designs in school environment. But yeah, he said anticipating goals, objects, and plans and designs, and learning, and then implementation this plan at school, right? It's a more specific, setback. It's a little give more specific, kind of things. What about Gladthorne? Gladthorne is a curriculum plans made for guiding learning in schools. Schools, right? Provided school, usually represented in retrievable document of several levels of generality. It's really focused on what is the content. Retrievable means replicable, right? Documented several levels of generalities. And actualization of those planned in the classroom as experienced by the learners and recorded by the observer, how they do, teachers, right? And those experiences take place in the learning environment, like a school, some organizations, and like this, also influence what is learned. Little bit different, right? You can see that one, and represent kind of retrievable document with several levels of generality. Means that depends on maybe if you study and PhD is a little different level, but just think about elementary, the high school education and college education. Maybe it's kind of going up to higher education, and then there's a choice of education for learners is getting wider and wider, right? And elementary just always said, and this is art class, this is social science, this is math, this is English, that's all, right? And then college, and then there is a kind of, it's the same topic or more, there's a choices there. But if you go to college, there's not kind of categorization of the studies really wider, right? Not just social science, but there's a social science meaning the what? Psychology, sociology, like, right? That's a little bit different than other classes and anthropology, like based on the science, but different humanity class, and you can French, English, and then philosophy, and like this, a little bit different. Willis and then Bondis, and then curriculum is a goal or a set of values. Wow. Can you see that? I say added, which are activated through the development process culminating in classroom experience for students. The degree to which those experiences are the true representation of an envisioned goal, and goal is a direction function, direct function of the effectiveness of the curriculum development effort. Maybe education sets the values. Just think about when you teach, and even though subject centered, and then depends on what kind of subject, what book kind of choose to teach, and then we can deal with the different values. Maybe already the student have a values set, and then maybe they can change the values by the class, and maybe they can establish a firm, more firmer than before. Depends on, it's really education is focused on values, right? Not just on knowledge and skills. We can see that one. Print who wrote the book and was a curriculum development design, and then that is a textbook. He said that he introduced a lot of these definitions, and curriculum is defined as all the planned learning opportunity, planned learning. It's not just improvisationally, right away, oh, this time you need this class, this, no. There's a clear goals and philosophy and purpose of education and what? Clearly planned, right? Intentionally choose. And the opportunity offered to learners by the education institution like a school, and the experience the learners encounter when the curriculum is implemented. Right. And he said that he can make it more clear for components like this, and planned learning experience. Curriculum is a planned learning experience. Even though you don't plan, but still, what is a curriculum? The people who develop the curriculum and they plan for students, learners, offered within the education institutional program, like schools and maybe churches and other institutions, and right, like the formal education sometimes, and formal education sometimes, vocational education a little bit different, and represent as a document, right? So it's not just unwritten and but still clearly, this class is designed for what, this class is designed for what, like specific direction is there and goal is there, right? And represented as a document, and then it includes experience and vision from the implanting the documents of books, right? And that is he said that is curriculums, and maybe we can see that usually they don't talk about values, but they talk about goals, but maybe just if you go to like really country run by dictators, like different political system, like and government controlled education more than other democratic Republican countries, right? So there's no many options to see the other way, and then compare with other countries. Like just think about regime reigned by the communist leader, and then what in North Korea and other countries, and their education is always coherent to also maintain the social system and political system. There is no outside education, right? They don't know, they don't have a critical and analytical, but maybe there is inside the goal of education. If they if they see the different perspective, like against the political directions and system, and then that's it. So you can see the whole different definitions. So we can see the what is a curriculum. So right, so print is already summarized very well, but there is what is offered within the education institution, maybe private sector or public sectors, and sometimes it's not the curriculum like but still depends on it's like a church provide like discipleship programs. There's one of the curriculum is there, and then church provide some counseling kind of programs. There is a curriculum is there, and then it's not a 1 year, 2 year, maybe depends on the program, depth of a program, degree of the program. So yeah, and but represented as a document, right? So it's not just assumed but clearly written out, and then that because of the plan and the follow the way, right? And so through that, and there is a kind of experience that happened, and then learn the knowledges and learn the skills, right? So, what is the nature of curriculum? So we already talked about last exam. This class is a curriculum structure organized, right? That curriculum is really systematic. That's one of the nature. Think about when we provide the education program, and then if you don't have a systematic kind of way, and it's hard to provide kind of coherent education. And so always just first see the kind of elementary educations and primary schools and secondary school curriculum is different, right? Index is knowledge, depth of knowledge is different. The width of knowledge is different, right? So that's why, and then they like math class, think about math class, and then you can arithmetic, just plus, minus, all kind of stuff, and then vice versa. And you can go to calculus and algebra and calculus, a lot of different things, right? Just think about, you can do very well the algebra, it's hard to do well in the calculus. Now that's why systematically, and you're gonna set up very well, and then try to provide the opportunity to learn. That is a systematic in curriculum. What about subject curriculum? And when you, in the beginning, you don't have any much choice. Everything is set by kind of curriculum, and like math, English, and social science, that's all, right? And then, but the authors say that maybe 10th grade in Australia maybe was a 10th grade in social studies curriculums, and then there is a specific example is that, and maybe specific, and just think about it, and like subject curriculum is in college, it's like they have tons of different subjects, right? Not tons of philosophy and language and psychology and sociology and engineering. So engineering is a lot of different, civil engineering, computer science engineering, like a lot of different, biotech engineering, something like that. And then what about social science? Social science too, sociology and psychology and anthropology, and there's a lot of different subjects there, right? And that's why, even though it's simple or complicated, and always provide the subject, right? The subject. And so curriculum, one of the nature is a subject, right? Consider of a subject. What about another nature of school or institution curriculum? Mean that school design of curriculum and like institution, like the school and other private sectors design the curriculum, like whether it's a formal and gives a diploma like a BS and MA, like regardless of the diploma, still a lot of curriculums run by the was a big organization or a small organization, an institution or not, right? And so I already told you, and by my experience for my children's education, and then public school education is different from private school education, right? Basic things is the same, but depends on if you go to university, its flexibility is a little bit different from the liberal arts education, college. Liberal arts education is basically they open the door to different areas, so you gotta take certain classes, right? And but it's different from the G class, it's a little bit different, So usually, curriculum is kind of designed by schools, institutions, or organizations, right? When I was in Korean Mission Agency in US, and then I developed the training program for the missionary candidate and who are really wants to know wants to understanding and learn about mission. So I designed the program differently, and then for the people who really want to be a missionary, and then I provide a different kind of aspect of education. And if someone who really want to learn the mission and get involved in not as a missionary, but involved in mission, and then I provide basic missions curriculums. But there is even though systematic subject, and there is a lot of subject, and then there is runs planned by the school organization, whatever, and then there is a common ground for the curriculum, or it's a common things, and formalized course of study designed for learners. Okay, formalized study of course of study like psychology, right? Like education, social science is different, right? Different course, maybe university try to expose the student to the variety of education. That's why ask the student to take a general education. So, you're gonna take one science class, and you're gonna take one social science class like this, right? General education is there. And that's why the common ground is a formalized course of study designed for learners, right? Whether there is a little bit different, and each my daughter study about neuroscience, study on neuroscience psychology, and then some school really emphasize the science aspect. Some school really as kind of emphasize on what's the psychology aspect. Try to get a balance, though, right? That is a program, neuroscience, and then it's different. But there is a common ground, right? As a neuroscience or education, and basically, okay, at least education, you're going to teach this class, and that's common. And plan formalizing course of the study, and conscious planning the attempt to determine learning outcomes. Alright, conscious planning. Okay, we teach this class, and then what? Maybe they can go to the next level of the class, and then maybe we can kind of integrate with the other class like this, and conscious, intended kind of planning, attempt to determine learning outcomes. So if they pass this class, one can do next level like this, right? That's true. What about some form of a structure and facilitated learning? So there is summer schools and intensively they offer a class. And then what about the semester? What about the quarter? It's a different, right? But still runs about the whole curriculum. But it's a different, time frame is different, and maybe structure is class setting is different. Some classes like, when I take a class, it's like 200 people in the class, and yeah, it's really a lot, because that is a G class, but it's open to psychology major student, and then student who major in psychology, and then we can take a class together, but usually a lot of for the student who is taking a G class like that, right? And so there is a form of structure to facilitate the learning, right? This is a common ground about curriculums, even though they have a unique nature, but still there is a common ground. Okay, so what types of curriculum there is? Curriculum is like we always thinking about the subject. Okay, we're not take the classes. No, I'm gonna major in what is computer science. Okay, then you know what class we have to take. What G class? G class is kind of if you are the student of the school, then you're gonna take the class, right? And then what is a common? At least you're gonna expose you to this area as a college student, like that. And there is kind of what is different kind of what is categorization by people, but still like 1987. Gladthorne is kind of he suggests different types of curriculums. It's not just a document written down and then topic is there, right? Like if you introduction of psychology and developmental psychology and science, was adolescent psychology, and they really focus on teenage and was a child psychology and normal psychology and then social psychology, a lot of different areas. Experiment psychology. Here is he said ideal or recommended curriculum. So this one is going to be recommended by expert and scholars as a solution to meet need and right. So consequently, perceived as the most appropriate curriculum for learners. Okay. There's a curriculum. Okay. We gotta just think about if you study in child psychology and then who are the child educational and psychologists or whatever, and then they give a lot of information, and then you gotta teach this one, and then they form, right? That's a recommended curriculum or concept. What about the entitlement curriculum? Entitlement curriculum is like a little bit weird, but what society believes learners should expect to be exposed to as a part of their learning to become an effective member of society, right? Okay, you gotta take this class, should take this class, like this. Not much, but just think about usually, and I talk about why they need a higher level of they need to take a higher level of math class, and then I know math class helps kind of analyze logically and kind of follow the logic, and it's really helpful for developing logic. But still, I said they don't need the kind of knowledge. Just think about who study psychology, who have a professional job, and then maybe they really need them, but just ordinary people who need kind of addition, multiplication, subtraction, and like that, and we don't need it. It's not all about the practicality for education, so still, need to be developed outside of, but And in Taiwan, classroom is like this. Society believes the learner should expect to expose, like math, English, right? And social science like this. That's why college schools provide us a GE class, general education class. And maybe if you go to a country or kind of regime by dictator or communist dictator, and then they should teach their primary class, right? Just think about, and I was in Korea. I have to take like a Korean. You gotta learn the Korean grammars and how to write. But when I come here, I have to learn the English class. Like because the English is their own language and Korean is their own language, and you gotta learn, right? Like this. And what about intended or written classroom curriculum is that what organizations develops for the learners in their education system and should taught by teachers in the system. Intended. Like like entitlement is a little bit different. Intended, right? It's often reported to the syllabus by the organization system. That's intended and written curriculum. He said that there is another curriculum is available and supportive curriculum. So this one is kind of can be taught at school through the provision of appropriate resources. What is available for the human being and material? Sometimes, even though you have a really great curriculum, but there is no resources and you cannot teach them. Like me, and I grew up in a really rural area in Korea, and then I never used a microscope in my education in Korea. It's hard, I never use it. Maybe some people there is, but I never use it. Oh, this is a microscope and blah, 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 blah. Whole city of 50 people cannot use it, right? It's not available. Sometimes one is there, and then maybe we can glimpse and just see, we can see this one and this one. Just take a turn and see a few seconds. This point shows the functions. But when I went to college here in the United States, and then I have to take a biology class for general education, and then first time I had laboratory work, and then and I learned how to use a microscope and how you can see it. It's hard, right? Like that. What about implanted curriculum is what is actually taught by teachers in the classroom as they students interact with intended available curriculums, right? It's kind of implanted, and then this curriculum is planted, and then teacher can teach and students learn together. That's implanted curriculums. What about achieved curriculum? So students actually learn as a result of interaction with the implanted curriculum, achieved curriculum. So we can see the kind of outcome. What about the attained curriculum? Attained curriculum is the measurement of student learning, right? Which reveals this learning acquired by students. That's measurement how much they learn. Like the curriculum is that you can see that you gotta put into curriculum, even though it's not just subject, and then how much they learned, achieved their goal of education in their class, and then one of it is a test, right? You're gonna test how many people have passed the class, how many people really excellent in class, how many people have failed, and then maybe and class is too hard, and maybe teacher doesn't teach good, and we gotta evaluate though, right? There is a, can you see the kind of different aspect of the curriculum? Different aspect of curriculum, so right? And nowadays, it kind of this one is a little bit kind of in the beginning he used that word, but later on, that one is kind of more understandable terminology, and then when we design the class, and we gotta think about it. He already mentioned about measurement, right? And we gotta think about what kind of curriculum. It's not visibly written curriculum. We can see the whole set of the course of the class, right? The framework of the course of the class, and we can see all things. It's not just a curriculum, right? And then we can see what kind of curriculum there is. So there is a hidden curriculums, and there is other things that we have to consider. Here is types of curriculum. Another one, there is counseling education in the school, and I got the information from there, and then there is, I think it's pretty okay. So usually I introduce full curriculum, but still this one is more variety, and give them we gotta know, and then give them more information about their curriculum. Written curriculum, formally put down in writing and documented for teaching. Okay, so usually, already we talk about the written curriculum, and when you apply for this program, and then there is a course where you gotta teach, and then written, right? Or you gotta finish all this class, and then you're gonna graduate, you're gonna get a degree like this. So this material can include kind of educators' instruction of the instruction document, the film and text, other materials, right? And there is any kind of you gotta go to this is a practicum, like when I take a psychology class, and then there is a senior project, you can write a paper thesis, and then I did, so I published it. And another kind of if you are interested, and then there is a practicum is here, so you can get a 2 term or credit. So practicum is kind of you go to clinic or counseling center, or the related to psychology, and then maybe mental hospital. So maybe that is like instruction is there. I went to mental hospital, so right, and practical. So what it's about, and then there's a basic guideline and information is there. Include all things, right? Depends on the what kind of your curriculum. So usually when I take when I train people, I kind of give them a whole training, train 10-week programs on what you need to do, what kind of the topic you want to learn, and what is the research about you need to do, what is the presentation you need to do. So I put all things, right? Some classes you gotta go to field work, some classes you gotta do the lab, right? A science class, biology, you gotta take this one, and even though there is no any credit, so you gotta take the lab, right? Some class, okay, some classes you gotta when you take organic chemistry, and then they have to take the lab, like together like this, and then right, that's a so depends on what kind of education school provide, and then maybe there is a lot of things attached to their programs and curriculums, right? So written program and curriculum is a lot of specialists involved, and then there's a contracts involved, and then there's a specific goals and then objectives is there, right? That's a written curriculum. So basically, you can see, and maybe when you see, maybe when you don't pay attention to the kind of Christian education or the other your majors, and you can see go to counselor and show the whole the roadmap of a class and how can you do, and then there is a curriculum, so you can see that one, right? What you need to do, and taught curriculum is the type of curriculum refers to how teachers actually teach. Taught curriculum. It should really focus on the teachers, right? This is a less predictable and less standardized type of a curriculum because depends on the teacher, right? How teachers, educate or deliver the material, right? Depends on the teacher. Some teachers and a little bit more input on preparing the teaching and then visually and different way, and it's a little different. So this is based on the types of tools teacher has in their disposal, and depends on how they depends on what they preferred, right? So these could include experiment and demonstration and other types of engagement through the group work and hands-on activities, and then that's a taught curriculum, right? Is different. So taught curriculum is really extremely critical for the student who are special education or those who require any kind of specialized support, right? I don't know whether I never seen that there was the special education in Korea, but here one of my was a student in my ministry, and then he studies was a special education, and then he worked at school. So what is it does, and then really people who cannot follow the schoolwork, like he's teaching math, right? And regular classroom, and then they cannot meet the standard of goal, and then class, and then they are behind. So there is extra time. He sit there and help the student and in their pace, and then help them they learn their math. It's really designed for specific student, right? That's why. There is a taught curriculum though. So if you want to design a really good curriculum, always think of written curriculum is a kind of basic standard, but how can you teach the class in the taught curriculum, right? And then just think about how can teacher prepare the class, and then what about the student really can catch up with the other classmates, and then how can you help them, how can you give them attention like this, and then think about the taught curriculum too. So a lot of universities still provide tutoring. If they take the class and they are struggling, and then previous who took the class and got A in the class, and then school pays to the student, and then can you help him out? Can you help him study? So like that, and then that is kind of right, and special then different way, but part of your taught curriculum, right? Basically, and lectures like this, and classroom, and professor or instructor teach basic thing, and that's all. But still, some people want to know more, but still a little bit behind, and what school consider student, and they kind of give them extra work and instructions. That's a taught program, curriculum. So we're gonna consider when we design the classroom curriculum. Assess the curriculum. What is assess the curriculum is a normal test curriculum, tested curriculum. And how can you measure class is really successful? And how can we know that the student is really achieving the goal of this class and education? So it's hard to do that though. But one of the ways is the test, right? Sometimes quizzes, and then every week after class and before class or whatever, and then test mid-term and final term, final test, and other kind of methods like measure student success. Maybe they can give a project, right? Project, and how could they use, and then like this depends on the class. Yeah, that is we gotta think about the assessment. How can we assess our education? That's assess the curriculum, right? How we assess the curriculum. So that one is we gotta really, but probably usually kind of education like schools, and always they provide. Some school nowadays, my wife's friend's son went to school, but there's no grade. They write the paper, but still no grade. They have their own system, right? I don't know how it works when he applied for the graduate school, and then like that. There's but nowadays kind of try to get out of the traditional education, but still we gotta know there's a lot of creative way that we can measure the student, kind of how much the student achieve the goal of education, right? And so maybe you can assess the student presentation, how much you can see when they present and how much they know, and just present what they got information. But we can ask the questions, and then how much he knows, and how can he think about deeper like this, and then what portfolio, and then just think about the people has test the result and present and group project, and a lot of information. What is can make a portfolio about how the student is doing, and what about the demonstration, and then what about the standardized test like SAT, and they just standardized test, and then another kind of test is every year, and they have to take a test, right? Like that. And that is a way that we can measure how much a student can learn. That's the assess the curriculum. So when you design the curriculum, you gotta know that. And what about recommended curriculum? So we already said we learned that kind of was a scholars and was a specialist kind of suggest, right? That one is kind of types of education from there, and then recommended curriculum comes from the variety of different sources, like nationally recognized researches, and then policymakers or legislator or others, right? It's a little bit empirical studies like that, and then we gotta add this one, and we're gonna teach this one like this. So it really, recommended curriculum focuses on the content and skills and tools educators should prioritize in the classroom. It's not just a written curriculum, right? More specifically, okay, just think about K to 12, and then there is a eastern stage, and we know that the development of children, and then okay, this stage you gotta provide this one, and then may develop this part and this part and this. They try to that one, and then even though maybe you can clarify in the curriculum, and then what teachers should be please pay attention to what the expert recommend suggest, right? That's a recommended curriculum. Recommended curriculums, right? We gotta know that one when you design the curriculum. What about the supported curriculum? Supported curriculum is like there's a extra curriculum. Do you know extra curriculum? Like student activities, and then someone joined the student bodies, and then there is a lot of sports there. There is a club is there, and then there is one of additional resources, and then maybe they can go to field trip, and then maybe they can research from the computer lab, and then like this, and then maybe they can get the inside classroom or outside the classroom. They can have additional information and tools to learn something, right? So maybe you can use the technologies, and then maybe you can use the software, and then if you use the software, it's much easier. Just think about statistics, that I use, and then if you understand the basic principle of statistics, and then just type it in, and everything is processed by the computer, and then you can get the result right away. Other than that, and maybe it's easy to gather average and median and mode, but still it's a lot of work, right? But if you know the software, and then just if you know some program, and then just input the information, and comes out everything. You don't have to do each by each. That is a supported curriculum, additional curriculum, like written curriculum, right? There is another curriculum is a hidden curriculum, and sometimes you don't have you don't have to teach in class, but something's happened, right? And it really, the impact is significant on students. So there's even though the curriculum is not planned, hidden curriculum is not planned in the beginning, but still there is something with interaction between, among the student, interaction with the student and teachers, and then they can learn something. So we gotta know this one hidden curriculum. So this type of hidden hidden curriculum is not always communicated or the formally written down, but still how there is the implied, implicit rules and unmentioned expectations. You don't have to mention, but still unmentioned expectation and the norms and the value of the culture, classroom culture, and teachers' influence, right? That is a hidden curriculum. But think about, even though you don't written down everything, and then what are you expecting from this class? They can develop they can get the knowledge and skills, and they can develop their values, right? We cannot see like it's hard to do that, but about values, but still value is kind of even though you force them to have the value, but it's not easy. But if you set up the example by someone, by teachers, kind of but it's really impactful, impactful to students, right? And that is a hidden curriculum. Just think about, even though this class is designed, curriculum designed, but it's not clear. There is no you gotta do this one, even though you don't set anything, but what I expecting from you guys, kind of like it's really even though kind of give them kind of a hint. You don't do any specific things, but still, really help to student learn, right? To learn. That is a hidden curriculum, but we gotta think about how we can put it into the curriculum. So this is a hidden curriculum. So hidden curriculum is often challenging for students to different background or cultures. If we don't know the kind of the American cultures, and then it's really hard, right? And struggled a lot, and kind of you feel like and judged by people, and because you have a different cultural background, understanding of it, So hidden curriculum is really hard for this student. But hidden curriculum can also be influenced by how monies and times and resources allocated with the school or school district. Depends on how can you invest the money, right? Maybe you can set up the environment very nice, and not like a separate classroom like this, but kind of or maybe set up the table like auditorium, and then you can see like this, and then theater style. Sometimes you go to the round table and to work as a group, and then that's why it's even though kind of form create the right environment, and it's really helpful, right? That's a hidden curriculum though. So excluded curriculum. What is excluded curriculum? Excluded curriculum is known as a null curriculum. The content is not taught in the course, right? Content is not taught in the course, but often the educator curriculum specialists believe that certain skills and concepts are less important, does not need to cover, but sometimes left out intentionally, unintentionally, but shapes student as much as what is included. Very funny, right? Very funny. We consider that it's not important. They need it, but still, that one is kind of little, we don't give it pay attention, but still gives a lot of influence on the student and shape the student. Right? Here's an example. The student might not be taught about the ongoing debate among experts in the field, not encouraged to think critically about a text. But still, as times go by, they will not learn how important it is, right? That's excluded curriculum, and it's not a hidden curriculum. Hidden curriculum is but it's not clearly presented, but still you want them something from student, right? The student needed to learn, but it's not clear, but there is sometimes it's right. So if you clearly presented and sometimes kind of offended students, sometimes kind of negative impact on student. That's right. So think about one of the examples is environment. How can you make environment right? But excluding the curriculum is not paying attention, right? Not teaching the classroom, but still shape the student. That one is kind of there is a curriculum that we don't expect anything. That's why when we evaluate the whole curriculums and we consider what is missing, what is unexpected, what is the student achieved, how, and then we gotta evaluate. That's why we need it. What about another curriculum is a learned curriculum. Learned curriculum is that learned curriculum refers to what students walk away with from the course, what they learn from the class, right? Maybe a lot of people get a degree like BS, BA, like this, right? They will base knowledge on their understanding of skills like that. That is a learned curriculum. So it means that we are thinking about the outcome of education, right? And we are thinking about how many curriculums, and almost we have four kind of 8 curriculums we are talking about, right? And then when we design the curriculums, it's not just a written curriculum, right? I want to know that how can we deliver our education kind of to the learners effectively, right? It's not just a written curriculum. Written classes, maybe you can make just sitting on the table without any expert. But if we want to make a really education effective, and then if we really want to achieve the goal of education that we are pursuing, and then we got to consider all things. What is the hidden why is it really important? For hidden curriculums, why is assessed curriculums needed? Why we gotta listen to what's recommended curriculum? We just think about population of the student, right? And some schools, or even though public schools, really the population is different from other school, and then they are really focused on education, right? And then they study hard. Sometimes they go to a private academy and they study and help from the outside of the class, and then they really study hard. That is a little bit. Just think about that kind of population, and then if you provide really like boring and underachieved material, and then they're not going to be bored. They're not going to really focus on educate their studies, learning. And so and excluded learning, so what is the kind of byproduct of this curriculum? We don't expect, we don't teach, but students shape in that way, their education, right? So that's why it's not a easy process, but still, maybe we can show the load level class, the curriculum, but just to think about there's more specific kind of guideline we need, right? Maybe first year, second year, maybe and as times go by, and when professor and instructor teach the class and teachers teach the classes, and then there is kind of evaluation every time we can get, feedback we can get, and then how can we set the curriculum? That's why curriculum development is what? Improve, right? Curriculums. So when you design the curriculum, so think about what you need, right? We already talk about assessment. We talk about the basic subject. We talk about listen to the expert. We need, we talk about extra class, extracurricular class. What can help the student learning, and then sometimes what can make the student balanced, right? Extracurriculars, hidden curriculums, and learn. At the end of the class, when they finish the class, what they learn and go to and work. That is the basic curriculum. So this one is much organized well, and then think about what we needed to design the curriculum. There was a design and develop the curriculum. So maybe it's not just one page is a roadmap, but still it's a lot of things we needed to do, right? That is the curriculum we gotta know, okay? And it's pretty complicated. I never used that kind of things, and then I always do the extracurricular and written curriculum. So I provide 10 weeks a mission class about missions and understanding other cultures and stuff, and then I created one thing that I heard from someone, and wow, it's really cool, it's nice. And then one of the extracurricular is that here is in LA, so a lot of which is really diverse, right? Ethnic diversity is here, and then there is a Indian town, there is a Vietnamese town, there is a Middle Eastern street, and I live in Cerritos, but my office was in Anaheim, and around there is a lot of different ethnic communities there. So one Saturday without any class, maybe short class, and then give them basic instruction and progress, and then send them to out, okay? You gotta go to their market, you gotta go to their store, and then you gotta go to their restaurant, and you gotta talk to people, right? See what they eat, and see what they wear, and see what are their favorite, like all kind of stuff, and see their temples, and go to mosques, and I send them to them. So try to understand who they are. It's not just with the knowledge. That's a part of extracurricular. So I use that one, but I never thought about hidden curriculums and supported curriculum. I accepted. I tried to get a lot of material from the research and books and right. But still, when I designed the curriculums, I never thought about this area like this, right? Depends on. So try to see the a lot of I want you when you design the curriculum, and then I want you read at least 3 to 5 books, and then maybe sometimes the terminology terms the word is different, but you can see different insight, and then what's a basic guideline that like our class, and what's a basic guideline, and what is the insight that they have with people different different insight that people suggest, right? We can take and then just how can we put it here and there, right? To achieve the what? The goal of education. Okay, so that is the types of education curriculums, and then we talk about the definition, and we talk about what's the nature of your curriculum. We talk about it's a systematic. So we gotta put all the things in the right place, not kind of there's a coherent. Is coherent is needed, right? So coherence is needed, and then try to organize very well, even though you spend more time, and that's literally worth it. So what is the characterization of the curriculum? Curriculum is like a subject matter, right? It's a really traditional image of a curriculum. Okay, what kind of subject and provided to form a body of content to be taught, right? That is a curriculum is a curriculum subject. That is one of the characteristics. So even though when you design the school classes, and then there's a lot of subjects there, right? I teach what is the mission class, and always understand the culture, other cultures, and I teach the history of missions, and I teach the how the biblical kind of perspective on the missions, of how God said about missions. But Bible doesn't use the mission or go to the mission, but still the theology based on the Bible verse, and then we're going to teach them like this, right? How can we work with the others like this? And but there's a lot of subject, right? And relate to the one thing, so education, okay? If you study education and kind of Sunday school education, if you get involved, and how can you design? Maybe you can use already the material that already published, regularly, periodically, and you can use that one, but still think about that one is sometimes not enough, but sometimes gives a basic idea about how you teach, but think about your the student population, and they are Americans or they are Koreans and they are mixed. Just think about the populations, right? And think about their cultures. It's a lot different. Curriculum is kind of as an experience, when they define the as a curriculum, so they use the experience a lot. So more recently, kind of images is the curriculum as a set of experiences, learner encounter in educational context. Okay, even though they learn a different subject and everything, even though just think about an education, right? Development education, and then how they develop their intellect, and then each class they have a different experience, right? And nowadays, kind of just think about and what they're gonna experience in the classroom and outside the class with this education. So curriculum is a kind of expressed what? Characterized any experience, right? What about the intention? Curriculum is intention, right? Intended curriculums like this, and then there is an intention, because if there is no purpose for education, why we are doing education? Provide education, right? There is a clear, maybe sometimes there is no philosophy, but there's a clear goal of education is there. Clear education of them. That's why you gotta think about what kind of theory are you gonna use it, right? Especially for the Christian education, and then think about it, and we're gonna know though what are the perspective, right? And how they understand the human being. It's totally different. And that's why there's really curriculum is really intended. That's why, okay, this is a master class of Christian education, and then if we want to what kind of level of learn the curriculum, and depends on how can you build up the whole curriculum to come out like this. That's a learned curriculum, right? The student kind of take away with the knowledge and skills and go to the society work. That's why we gotta put the class, and we gotta listen to listen to the expert, right? Curriculum is a cultural reproduction. So usually receive their support is the view that curriculum should reflect the culture of the particular society. Depends on your political system, and their education method is different. Their emphasis is different, right? And think about, so I'm from the collective society, and then they are really understanding the things as a whole as a whole, right? And from people from the world, not everybody, but that's a cultural tendency. People from the individualistic society, they are very much analytic, because each person is different, and then through each person, and then try to understand the whole things, right? So cultural reproductions. So maybe if we set this one and just think about American education and keep using that one, even though there is a little change, but still, you can create common things as in American educations, reproductions, right? Curriculum is a courier, so it's a more recent characterization of a curriculum views it's a process providing continuous personal meaning to individuals, right? And kind of a curriculum in there, just think about education is a process, it's not a set. It's a lifetime long process. Think about in societies changing, right? About 10 years ago, 30 years ago, right? When I was in Korea, there is no personal computers. There is, but it's really limited to certain people. It's really expensive at the time. But courier is kind of okay. We gotta see the what is education is what is the regressive, like this is Korea is like regressive, mean that turn to automatically alphabetical and educational past. We're gonna go back and see and what we are doing, right? Regressive, and then progressive, and then kind of a little bit develop and turn toward immediate future. Okay, we came back from here and we are here and see the future. That's they are progressive, right? Analytical turn toward one's educational past, present, and future. Okay, so look at the future and then see the evaluate past and what's your plan in current situations. That's analytical. So what about synthetic? I mean the synthetics that you put together, right? Turn to the fragment of the experience and larger political and cultural context all put together and then implement, organize and implement, and then keep cycling. Because 10 years ago, the past. Even though my daughters and they just graduated college 2-3 years ago, and they said it seems like it's a long time ago. Yeah. That's a curriculum is like this, and then it's not fixed. And even though a really closed country like a communist country, just think about developing the society changing and world are changing, and then if they wanna hit their system, and then they need to change it. So a lot of things are evolving in different ways, right? Some don't assume that. Just think about nowadays and then like communist countries, and they wanna see what people are doing, and especially foreigners, and then they develop really high technologies to observe the people, what they are doing, and almost everything, right? That's one of the characteristics of education. Kind of progress, a process. And as getting older, and then just think about your parents. I'm getting older, and my kids are in early mid-20s, and then they are really good at the technology, but my wife is struggling with the technology. She's 60, almost 60, and then it's really struggling with the technology. She can barely use the word and the typing, and then that's all. But she's really scared of the touching the other things. I told her just to click the button, and then it's all. That's all. But you don't have to say it's okay. But they're really scared, right? And even though kind of society changing, and they don't need like that, and then while she's working, and she knows the program, and she knows what she needs to do, but when you come out of work and then daily life, and then different story, right? That's the education now, curriculum. So why career, right? That's the characterization of the curriculum. So basically, we understand what the curriculums, and then through the definition and natures, and then types and characterizations. So I hope that with this one, we're gonna a little bit jump on the next level, right? So maybe we can next week we can study about more understanding of the curriculum development, and then go and specific the content that we need, right? So I hope that through this lecture coming up, help you guys coming up to see the kind of wide point of view of the curriculum. So not just a written curriculum, but always a lot of different things that you can think about when you when you develop curriculum or from the scratch, or you can do some of your small or big curriculums in your work setting. All right. So I hope that it's really helpful, you guys. And then I know it's very hot. It's a classroom is very hot. So take care of you guys yourself, not to be dehydrated.